Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on how to create psychologically healthy workplace, the overview. Before I get started, I just want to make sure that everything is good and you can still hear, which I think probably is good. My name is Joan, and I'm so excited to be here, and I'm glad that you're able to join me today. So thank you very much. I also want to thank Wes for inviting me to speak on this topic. Just a quick bit of information on myself. I'm a certified coach, HR consultant, owner of Universal Human Resources, and I have my Chartered Professional Human Resources designation. I have over 20 years experience in HR management, finance, working with a variety of diverse organizations. I was first introduced to today's topic on having a psychologically healthy workplace a few years ago, and in the last couple of years, I've taken several opportunities to learn more about this topic, and have been using some of the resources whenever I can. The agenda for today is to share some insights and give you some information on creating a psychologically healthy workplace. I will show you where you can get more information to learn more about it, which can support you and your team to get started in your workplace. As this topic has a lot of information and I have less than an hour to provide you as much information as I can, I'll be moving fairly quickly through the presentation. If you have any questions, please add them to the chat section, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can at the end of the presentation, providing we have enough time. In this presentation, I'll give a short couple of technical difficulties here. So give a short description about some of the resources that I'll be mentioning in the webinar. I'll give a brief explanation on the introduction to the concept of psychological health and safety in the workplace and the benefits. I'll cover a little bit of information on the 13 factors in the National Standard for Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace. And then at the end of the presentation, I've added some slides on where you can access the information and resources about this topic that can help you to get with the next steps for getting started in your workplace. And I've been told that the slides for the resources will also be available later on. So here's some quick facts about psychological health in the workplace provided by the Mental Health Commission of Canada, as well as the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety. 1 in 5 Canadians experience a psychological health problem or illness in any given year. Psychological health problems and illnesses are the #1 cause of disability in Canada. Psychological health problems cost the Canadian economy an estimated $51 billion year in absenteeism, disability claims, medical services used, $20 billion of which results from work-related causes. 47% of Canadians consider their work to be the most stressful part of their day. Psychological health problems affect mid-career workers the most, lowering the productivity of the Canadian workforce. Only 23% of Canadian workers would feel comfortable talking to their employer about a psychological issue. So let's talk about how organization can start to create a psychological health and safety in the workplace. At the end of the presentation, I'll provide you with locations and links to where you can find the information provided in this presentation. There's a lot of information and training available through a variety of resources, and some of the information that I'll be providing today will be from those resources. These are only suggestions for you to use as possible courses of action. The best place to start is the definitions, which will set the foundation for explaining psychological health and safety. So these are just four. There's a lot more definitions that will be found on some of the links you'll be able to see. Psychological health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Psychological safety. deals with the risk of injury to psychological well-being that an employee might experience. Improving the psychological safety of a work setting involves taking precautions to avert injury or danger to employee psychological health. Mental health and safety is just as important as physical health and safety. A psychological health and safe workplace is one that promotes employees' psychological well-being and actively works to prevent harm to workers' psychological health, including in neglect, recklessness, or intentional ways. Organizational factors, hazards, including elements of the work environment, management practices, and/or organizational dimensions that increase the risk to health. 13 organizational factors are defined in the standard. A healthy workplace can be described as one where workers and managers effectively contribute to the working environment by promoting and protecting the health, safety, and well-being of employees. Work is good for mental health, but negative working environment can lead to physical and mental health problems. Psychological health problems can be mild to severe psychological disorders. The most common psychological health problems in the workplace are anxiety and depression. A psychologically healthy and safe work environment improves morale, employee commitment, productivity, and it fosters job satisfaction. We all want to be able to go to work every day and enjoy our job, about the company we work with, but as some people experience, that's not the case. There seems to be issues that happen in the workplace that we wish did or didn't happen, or that were more things that we could count on, or practices in place to help alleviate some of the stressors. Psychological health and safety management system is not about assessing an individual's mental health. It's about considering the impact of workplace processes, policies, and interactions on psychological health and safety of all employees. A psychological health and safety management system is primarily intended to be preventative for mental injuries to the entire workforce in the same way that occupational health and safety systems are preventative for physical injuries and illnesses. The standard was developed in the context of a large body of scientific literature from many relevant areas of workplace health and safety, law, social science, which support the business value of psychological health and safety in the workplace. While there are many factors external to the workplace that can impact psychological health and safety, the standard addresses those standards aspects within the control, responsibility, or influence of the workplace that can have an impact within or on the workforce. The guidelines provide relevant definitions, identifies risk factors for poor workplace psychological health, and provides practical strategies for different levels of an organization to improve psychological health. I suggest, okay, I'm just trying to read some of the chats that are going, so it's more in some of the sound, it sounds like. So hopefully some people are not having difficulties. The next part I'm going to do is play a video that gives a brief introduction about learning more on the National Standard for Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace, how implementing the standard in your organization can address these risk factors and create a psychologically healthy and safe workplace. So I'm just going to share my desktop browser with you. Just take a second. And here's the video.
Every day, millions of Canadians go to work, but every week, about 500,000 Canadians cannot because of a mental health problem or illness. And since most of us spend around 60% of our waking hours at work, ensuring our workplaces are psychologically safe is important business. But when it comes to health and safety in the workplace, we sometimes only think about physical health. Mental health, well, it's just not top of mind. But here's why it should be. The cost of mental health problems and illnesses to the Canadian economy is at least $51 billion per year. Employers can see the impact through things like absenteeism, lost productivity, and high turnover. It's a hefty price to pay. The workplace should provide an opportunity to feel productive and thrive. When we're not well, it affects everything we do, at home and at work. While people don't come with a maintenance manual, there is a process organizations can and should follow to prevent harm and promote overall mental wellness. It's called the National Standard for Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace, and it's the first of its kind in the world. Developed in Canada and used by countless organizations and companies, it's the roadmap for employers to create a mentally healthier workplace. The standard is all about shifting workplace culture to value mental health and safety as much as we do physical health and safety. It provides a framework to assess your current workplace, set objectives, and take action to enhance the programs, policies, benefits, and training you already have in place at work. The standard is voluntary, and there's no single prescribed way to implement it. It's designed to allow for flexibility and customization to effectively implement in your unique organization. But sometimes that leaves employers wondering how to get started. The Mental Health Commission and its partners have created resources to help. Start by downloading the standard and looking at what policies and procedures you already have in place. The Assembling the Pieces Guide and Toolkit will take you step by step through implementing the standard. You could also take advantage of training resources like Being a Mindful Employee, a free online program that introduces employees to the factors that impact mental health and what we can all do to support our coworkers and ourselves. People are your most valuable assets. Commit to creating a psychologically safe work environment and help your employees thrive inside and outside the workplace. You can do this. Start today. Visit mentalhealthcommission.ca.
So we're back, and I want to thank Josie because technically there seems to be a lot of stuff you have to do a webinar, and without her help, I'd probably be having struggles here. So yeah, thank you, Josie, for helping me. So okay, let's go through some more of the resources proven effective that you may find useful. The national standard, the CSA Z1003, Assembling the Pieces, is an implementation handbook that has been developed for use in conjunction with the National Standard of Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace document. Together, these documents can help organizations create psychologically healthy workplace environments. The handbook has been designed to help users understand where to start and how to improve and move through their organization through the initial planning stages to full implementation to the standard. The national standard is a volunteer and it's at no cost. It's a systematic approach that addresses workplace factors that affect psychological health and safety. It focuses on workplace practices and processes, not individual health issues. It is tailored to the needs and existing resources of each workplace, and it's been developed by employer, worker, regulatory, and subject matter stakeholders. Another one is the Ottawa Public Health, has a lot of resources. The Mental Health Commission of Canada, Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, and Guarding Minds at Work. Guarding Minds at Work is a unique and free, comprehensive set of online resources to help employers, large or small, in the public or private sector, designed to assess, protect, and promote psychological health and safety in the workplace. I'll also be mentioning Guarding Minds at Work in this presentation, as it is a great resource to go to. Workplace strategies for mental health website is another place. The Great West Life Center for Mental Health in the Workplace. There's a lot of other information also on this site, such as a leader's guide for managing mental health matters, management style quiz to help assess how your management style contributes to staff well-being and performance, information on managing emotions, and slide presentations to use, such as psychologically safe interactions with a facilitator's guide and a participant book. A link to this site is in the resource section again at the end of this presentation. So organizations can take action to creating a healthy workplace by being aware of the workplace environment and learning how to promote a better mental health for their employees, learning from other organizational leaders and employees who have taken action in the workplace, developing better policies that help to develop a healthy workplace, being aware of the sources of support and where they can find them, implementing and enforcing health and safety policies and practices, inform your employees that support is available, involve employees in decision making so that they feel they're participating in this process, implement programs for career development, and recognize and reward employees. Engaging your entire team in reviewing the factors that impact psychological health and safety in your workplace is the approach recommended by the National Standard of Canada on Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace. By doing this, you not only build awareness of the responsibility of each employee to contribute to a positive workplace culture, you also get their involvement in developing and being part of the solution. So engage your team. There is strong evidence that certain features of the workplace can affect employees' mental and physical health. Workplace risk factors increase the likelihood that an individual will experience increased stress, which in turn increases the likelihood of developing or worsening a mental disorder. Psychosocial factors are elements that impact employees' psychological responses to work and work conditions, potentially causing psychological health problems. Psychosocial factors include the way work is carried out, for example, deadlines, workloads, and work methods, and the context in which work occurs, including relationships and interactions with managers and supervisors, colleagues, co-workers, clients, and customers. There are some workplace factors that may contribute directly to a person's mental distress, for example, anxiety, heavy workload, changes to job duties, conflicting job demands, tight deadlines, and job insecurity. A person's mental distress may not reach the level of a diagnosable mental disorder, but yet may be a source of considerable suffering for that person. If organizations make efforts to identify psychosocial risks and create a psychologically healthy workplace, they can reap benefits in productivity and growth. A supportive work environment can reduce the onset, severity, impact, and duration of mental distress and illness. Employers, leaders, and teams all play a role with doing the right thing. Now let's go over the impact that employee psychological health can have on an organization. A wide body of evidence suggests that poor workplace psychological health negatively affects performance at both the individual and the organizational level. Work-related stress, if prolonged, can lead to both physical and psychological damage. Work can also aggravate pre-existing conditions and problems at work and can bring on symptoms or make their effects worse. Compromised employee psychological health has a range of negative effects on organizations, including financial, productivity. In addition to absenteeism, psychological ill health is a significant contributor to presenteeism, decreases in performance due to illness or injury while an employee is still at work. Safety, reduced psychological health and safety contributes to accidents, incidents, and injuries, and workplace morale. If one member of a team is struggling, the whole team is compromised. Changes in a colleague's unusual behavior or performance due to mental health problems may be perceived as intentional, resulting in misunderstandings, resentment, and tense relationship. There are many risk factors for mental health that may be present in working environment. Most risks relate to interactions between the type of work, the organizational managerial environment, the skills and competencies of employees, and the support available for employees to carry out the work. For example, a person may have the skills to complete the tasks, but they may have too few resources to do what is required, or there may be unsupportive managerial or organizational practices. Some of the risks to mental health include unclear tasks or organizational objectives, inadequate health and safety policies, lack of communication, poor management practices, limited participation in decision-making or low control over one's work area, insufficient levels of support for employees, and inflexible working hours, just to name a few. There are many risk factors that can happen in a workforce. Some examples of these can be an employee is expected to absorb the duties of 2 colleagues who have been let go due to organizational restructuring. An employee is assigned many more projects than they can be reasonably expected to complete during their regular work hours. An employee goes above and beyond to provide excellent customer service, but never gets recognized in the work ethic. An executive promotes one employee over another due to favoritism and not demonstrated experience or skills. A company never organizes employee engagement opportunities such as town halls or potlucks, leaving employees feeling as if they did not matter. A broken air conditioner has not been repaired in over a year, causing employees in the office to become overheated and irritated during the summer months. So there's many, many examples. And so I'm sure some of you probably have heard a lot of different reasons that can cause people problems within the workplace. Risks may also be related to job context, such as unsuitable tasks for the person's competencies or high and unrelented workload. Some jobs may carry a higher personal risk than others, for example, first responders, which can have an impact on mental health and can be a cause of symptoms of mental disorders or lead to harmful use of alcohol and drugs. Risks may be increased in situations where there's a lack of team cohesion or social support, and bullying and psychological harassment are commonly reported causes of work-related stress by workers and present risks to the health of workers. They are associated with both psychological and physical problems. These health consequences can have costs for employers in terms of reduced productivity and increased staff turnover. They can also have a negative impact on family and social interactions. Do you know that 70% of working Canadians are concerned about psychological health and safety in the workplace? So we do know that, when we're in a workplace, a lot of people really are concerned about the psychological health and safety in their workplace. Having a good psychological health is crucial to achieving overall health and well-being. The work environment is one of the many settings that have an impact on psychological health. Given that an average Canadian worker spends 30 to 40 hours per week, it's important to maintain psychological health and safe workplaces. So businesses with a positive approach to psychological health and safety are better able to recruit and retain talent. Employers who create and sustain a great place to work will attract and keep the best workers. Have improved employee satisfaction and engagement. Your employee would be enthusiastic, and when employees are engaged, they are more creative and innovative, which in turn usually means higher profits. You have improved sustainability and have improved health and safety. Other positive impacts include a reduction of several workplace issues, including the risk of conflict, employee turnover, reduced health costs, lost work time injury rates, absenteeism, and performance, for example. Now I want to give you a little bit of information on building a business case for your organization. The reason for addressing psychological health and safety varies across regions, companies, and teams within organizations. For some, the strongest driver will be financial, for others, productivity and growth. You will want to get your senior leaders and managers to commit to developing a systematic approach for managing psychological health and safety in the workplace. You may be a manager of a business and be directly responsible for addressing health and safety, or you may be a member of the HR department, a concerned employee, a union representative seeking to convince the leaders in your organization to take action on this issue. It's important to determine the appropriate business case for your situation. Be realistic and identify specific and achievable outcomes. Collect any qualitative and quantitative information relevant to your situation, and consider using Guarding Minds at Work resources to help you do that and to measure the success of any interventions you choose to undertake. Some of the data that you may want to use to build your business case may include absenteeism rates, turnover rates, disability rates, and increased rates of conflict. So there's a lot of other different ones that you could use. So there is 13 factors that affect the mental health of people in the workplace. Evidence shows that there are 13 factors that affect the mental health in people in the workplace. These psychosocial factors impact workers' psychological responses to work and work conditions. This can cause mental health concerns. The factors include the way the work is carried out, for example, deadlines, workloads, work methods. They also affect the context in which work occurs. This includes relationships and interactions with managers, supervisors, colleagues, co-workers, clients, and customers. So these are the 13 factors, and I'm going to go briefly over them now, one at a time, and you can deal with them in no specific order. So even though I've numbered them 13, it's just to kind of keep track of more where I'm at. So psychological support is present in a work environment where coworkers and supervisors are supportive of employees' psychological and mental health concerns and respond appropriately as needed. Equally important are the employee's perception and awareness of organizational support. An example of this would be when a supervisor notices that a person is not in their normally bubbly self. What should you do? Talk to them about what you notice? As a supervisor, there are many things you can do to support your staff. You want your employee to know they are supported. The benefits of effectively addressing psychological support include improved overall psychological health of the employees, increased productivity, and reduced costs for work absences, such as sick time and disability costs. The more employees feel they have psychological support, the greater their job commitment, job satisfaction, job performance, and desire to remain with the organization. When adequate psychological support is present, employees experience psychological distress in the workplace will be more likely to seek and receive appropriate help. They will be better equipped to stay safe and productive at work while they recover, and if work absence is required, will be more likely to have a quicker and more sustainable work return. Employee perceptions of a lack of psychological support from the organization can lead to increase in absenteeism, conflict, strain, which then causes headaches, fatigue, and anxiety. Lack of psychological support can also result in loss of productivity, increased costs. Now I'm going to attempt to show you another quick video that you can be used, which is part of the Ottawa Public Health Series, Have That Talk. There is also facilitator videos that offer explanations on how the factors affect the workplace and strategies to improve it, and can also assist you in learning the language and hear examples prior to facilitating team discussions. I'll provide you again at the end with the links to these. So just take me a minute to load up this video for you.
Think of your workplace. Have you ever noticed a change in the way someone behaved? Perhaps they started coming in later, or maybe they were missing meetings or deadlines when normally they're on time with these type of things. What did you do in that situation? Did you speak to them about what you saw? Maybe that person was you, and maybe you were worried what others would think of you. Did you feel supported? Let's look at an example. This is Eileen. Eileen has been a bit more quiet and keeping to herself lately. This is not typical of her. She has also been coming in late to work. Her supervisor, Marco, is becoming concerned about the changes he sees. Marco takes Eileen aside and says, "You don't seem to be yourself lately. How is everything going?" Eileen explains that her partner has recently been injured and can't work. She's been feeling anxious about her family and it's making her feel distracted at work. Since her partner is injured, she also has had double the responsibilities at home. Eileen now has to get her son to childcare before and after school, which is why she has been showing up late. Her supervisor had no idea this was going on with Eileen. As a supervisor, he can thank her for explaining her situation, which will help him to support her better, while still ensuring that she's able to keep her work on track. When we talk about psychological and social support, we're talking about the level of trust and connections that exist in a workplace. It also refers to the level of help and assistance provided by others while performing tasks. As a supervisor, there are many things you can do to support your staff. You can suggest workplace employee assistance programs, or EAP, that can help during times of need. There are also other counseling services in the community that you can recommend. Other options include creating a stay-at-work plan that can accommodate your employees' needs. As an employee, be sure to let your supervisor know that you're going through a difficult time. Even if you don't want to share details, letting them know that you require support or flexibility to get through a difficult time can be helpful. They might be able to give you the flexibility you need to get through a hard time. So what is one way that you can promote psychological and social support in your workplace today? Psychological and social support is one of 13 factors of psychological health and safety in the workplace. Learn more at mentalhealthcommission.ca/national standard. For more resources for your workplace, check out havethattalk.ca, developed in collaboration by Ottawa Public Health and the Mental Health Commission of Canada, with content adapted with permission from Mindful Employer Canada and support from Bell Let's Talk.
So just take a second and we'll come back. You. All right. So I hope everything went well. Again, thank you, Josie, for helping me get through this part of the slides. So, organizational culture is the degree to which the work environment is characterized by trust, honesty, and fairness. In workplace cultures that are psychologically safe, people treat each other with civility and respect. Decisions are made in a fair way, and people feel like they're part of a team working toward the same goal. A positive organizational culture is somewhere where people want to work and want to stay. People in the community feel it's a great place to work, even if they don't work there. Positive organizational culture can have improved teamwork and productivity, a positive public and community image. According to research, organizational cultures that exhibit trust have increased employee well-being, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment. If an organization has a culture of profit at all costs, a constant chaotic urgency, it can create an environment in which burnout tends to be higher. Increased absenteeism, increased burden on those left carrying the load, employers expressing dislikes about coming to work, employees undermining policies and practices created to assist them. Some ideas that you can do in your workplace to help build a positive organizational culture would be provide effective communication skills training for everyone, ensure participation of employees in the development or updating of organizational values, policies, codes of ethics. Clear leadership and expectations are present in an environment in which leadership is effective and there's support that helps employees know what they need to do, how their work contributes to the organization, and whether there are impending changes. The lack of clearly understood expectations is the source of much trouble in relationships, the cause of most conflicts, and the beginning of poor organizational performance. Leaders must build clear expectations through their organization. The benefits addressing clear leadership and expectations would be reduced employee frustration and conflict, and effective leadership increases employee morale, resiliency, and trust, and decreases employee frustration and conflict. A leader who demonstrates commitment to maintaining his or her own physical and psychological health can influence the health of their employees. In other words, when the leader is not stressed out, overwhelmed, or exhausted, they are better able to lead effectively. Some ideas that you can do in your workplace are clear two-way communication is very important in the workplace, and managers need to fully and clearly explain what they require of the workers. Employees should not have to guess what their boss is expecting of them. Getting workers focused on using their strongest talents will increase both performance and engagement, according to the researchers. Help employees understand the bigger picture and how their work contributes to the goals. You will gain their support. Civility and respect are present in a work environment where employees are respectful and considerate in their interactions with one another, as well as customers, clients, and the public. Civility and respect are based on showing esteem, care, and consideration for others, and acknowledging their dignity. Benefits addressing civility and respect are effective teamwork, positive morale, reduced conflict among employees, respectful leadership at all levels. A civil and respectful workplace is associated with greater perceptions of fairness, improved morale, better teamwork, engagement in problem resolution, effective supervisor-staff relationships, and reduction in sick and leave and turnover. When a workplace lacks civility and respect, this can lead to emotional exhaustion among staff, in addition to health problems and uncivil, disrespectful workplace associated with greater conflict and job withdrawal. Probably the most extreme example of disrespectful behavior is bullying. Exposure to workplace bullying is associated with psychological complaints, depression, burnout, anxiety, and aggression. Bullying not only affects those directly involved, but also affects bystanders as they too experience higher levels of stress. Psychological competencies and requirements or psychological job demands are present in work environment where there's a good fit between employees' interpersonal, emotional competencies and the requirements of the position they hold. The benefits of this are enhanced performance and overall productivity, increased retention of skilled staff, enhanced recruitment processes. Psychological competencies and requirements in the workplace means that employees not only possess the technical skills and knowledge for a particular position, but they also have the psychological skills and emotional intelligence to do the job. Where there's a misfit between employees' psychological competencies and the requirements of the position they hold, it may result in job strain. This strain can be expressed as emotional distress, defensiveness, energy depletion, and lower mood levels. There's nothing quite like getting a team aligned around a common goal and everyone feels it and looks forward to coming to work and you're all connected. Imagine where employees are excited to come to work because they believe in the business, they feel valued, are regularly affirmed, and are working in their area of competency and interest. Growth and development are present in a work environment where employees receive encouragement and support in the development of their interpersonal, emotional, and job skills. Such workplaces provide a range of internal and external opportunities for employees to build their skills, which will not only help their current jobs, but will also prepare them for future positions. The benefits are increased employee competency, effective succession planning, and internal promotions. Growth and development is important as it allows for greater goal commitment on behalf of employees because employees feel supported in their future aspirations. Some ideas that you can do in your workplace are ask employees what areas of professional development they're interested in exploring. Provide opportunities for personal growth and development. Consider opportunities for job sharing, mentoring, or job sharing. Recognition and reward are present in a work environment where there's appropriate acknowledgement and appreciation of employees' efforts in a fair and timely manner. Recognition and reward means engaging in regular and appropriate financial compensation as well as team celebrations, recognition of years of service work, or milestones reached in the personal and professional lives of your employees. Recognizing and rewarding employees motivates them, fuels their desire to excel, builds their self-esteem, encourages employees to exceed expectation, and enhances team success. When an employee believes that their efforts are not appreciated, it can undermine their confidence in their work and trust in the organization. The benefits of effectively addressing recognition and reward can be enhanced employee satisfaction, improved teamwork, and positive employee morale. And some ideas that you can do in your workplace are provide training for managers on the use of constructive feedback, develop ways to fairly celebrate personal and professional milestones, and educate leaders about motivation. A person who feels appreciated will always do more than expected. And train people well enough they can leave, treat them well enough they don't want to. If you look after your staff, they will look after your customers. It's that simple. And that's a quote from Richard Branson. If you look after your staff, they will look after your customers. It's that simple. Respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, trust is gained, and loyalty is returned. Involvement and influence are present in a work environment where employees are included in discussions about how their work is done and the level of influence that they may have on decisions that will affect them directly. Opportunities for involvement can relate to the employee's specific job, the activities of a team or department, or issues involving the organization as a whole. When employees do not believe they have a voice in the affairs of the organization, they are likely to feel a sense of indifference or helplessness. The benefits of addressing involvement or influence can be enhanced performance and productivity, and employees take on an active role in addressing challenges at work. Some ideas you can do would be educate leaders about micromanaging and ways to avoid doing it. Educate and support managers to have regular discussions with employees about how work is done. A workload management is present in a work environment where tasks and responsibilities can be accomplished successfully within the time available. The biggest psychosocial factor that many working Canadians describe as being the biggest workplace stressor. For example, having too much to do and not enough time to do it. Research has demonstrated that it's not just the amount of work that makes a difference, but also the extent to which employees have the resources, the time, the equipment, support to do the work. Even when there are high demands, if employees also have high decision-making ability, they will be able to thrive. Having high decision-making latitude also allows for positive coping behaviors to be learned and experienced. Some of the positives are fewer job-related errors, incidents, and accidents. And something that you can do in the workplace would be to inform and prepare staff for anticipated increases in workloads. Engagement is present in a work environment when employees feel connected to their work and are motivated to do the job well. Employee engagement can be physical, emotional, or cognitive. Not only is employee engagement important for individual satisfaction and psychological health, but it leads to positive outcomes for the organization. In addition to profitability, employee engagement is related to greater customer satisfaction, enhanced task performance, greater morale, and greater motivation. The benefits of addressing could be improved customer satisfaction and client relations. And some ideas would be where possible increased opportunities for employees to apply strengths on the job. Sorry, I'm trying to move a little bit faster because I realize we're running a little lower on time. Some of the benefits, again, sorry, on the wrong one. Psychological protection is present in a work environment where employees' psychological safety is ensured. Workplace psychological safety is demonstrated when workers feel able to safely ask questions, seek feedback, report mistakes and problems, or propose a new idea without fearing negative consequences to themselves, their jobs, or their careers. Protection of psychological safety is present in a work environment where management takes appropriate action to protect the physical safety of employees. Appropriate actions may include policy to protect workers, physical safety, training and safety-related protocols, rapid and appropriate responses to physical accidents or unsafe situations, and clearly demonstrated concerns for employees' physical safety. Benefits could be reduced legal and regulatory costs, and some ideas would be to communicate to employees that their safety is a priority to the organization. So in summary, the Psychological Health and Safety National Standard is voluntary. The standard provides necessary guidance to establish and maintain an effective psychological health and safety system. Implementation will be a journey. There is numerous resources available to help. Remember that psychological health and safety within your workplace is not going to improve without action, and doing nothing is costly. Finally, keep in mind that efforts to address the psychological health and safety of your workplace are most likely to succeed when employers and employees work together. Research has shown that organizations that implement psychological health and safe workplace strategies are, on average, better performers in all key categories from health and safety to key human resource measures to shareholder returns. I encourage everyone to look at the resources that are available and to start your journey towards creating your organization into a psychologically healthy workplace. I know that it may seem daunting and overwhelming, but you don't have to do it all at once. Take one step at a time. It will take time and effort, but just imagine all the positives that it can bring to the employees and to your workplace. So that does conclude the presentation for today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation today and can see the benefits to opening the discussion around psychological health and safety in your organization, and that the information will help you to get started. I will show the next few slides where I noted where you can access information, resources, and links to help you get started on your program. But again, they'll be available when the presentation is put on the website. I think we probably ran out of times. How many companies in Saskatchewan adopted a PH system? I'm not really sure, but I do know some that have started. And also, I believe, can't remember off the top of my head, there is a company out of Regina that has completed all of it. It took them, I think, a couple of years. They had really, really high turnover rate, and I believe it's been reduced to almost nothing now. So it is possible. You mentioned one risk is when a person is assigned more work than they are able to complete in the same role. How do we manage this without creating different expectations for different employees? So again, what I would suggest is there's a lot of information on the website and a lot of different strategies that can give you some of those suggestions. Also, working with your employees, having suggestions from them. So getting the input and a variety of people can also help you to determine, what is the best for your organization. Again, a lot of this stuff is about each organization and how they can go about working with it with their employees. So I'm just going to run through these slides quickly that you can see. So thank you very much again for being here today. And there's about 6 slides. So WorkSafe Saskatchewan has information and courses that you can take. Some of the courses are free, and some of them from WorkSafe are also coordinating with the University of Fredericton online. Some of those courses are at a cost, but very, very reasonable. So they used to be quite a high cost, and now they're very reasonable to take. So I would suggest looking at those, some of the free ones first. Ottawa Public Health, again, has a lot of information on it. And they have, I showed you one of the presentations that you can give, plus they have transcripts. The Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety also has some free online training. They also have some training that costs a little bit, but it's another great website to go to. Guarding Minds at Work. This is where a lot of it resides. So I would suggest this is one of the resources where you want to go to. There's a lot of information on this website, and you're welcome to use the website materials. However, they ask that you do not alter the wording of the content when you're using the material. You must include the citation. So Again, I did use a couple of the information, some of the information from Guarding Minds is one of the locations that I did get some of the information from. So again, it's a great free resource for you. Mental Health Commission of Canada lists the 13 factors. There's videos on there. There's facilitator guides. And webinar series. So posters, there's lots of information that you can get from those sites. Also, another great site is the Great West Life Center for Mental Health in the Workplace, which gives workplace strategies for mental health website. Tons and tons of information. A lot of this is free information and will help you get started. So again, thank you very much, and I'm going to pass it back over to Josie.
All right. Well, thank you, Joan, for taking the time to share with us today. I know we all probably really appreciate it. I also want to say thank you to everyone who was able to join us on today's webinar. You'll be able to view this webinar on our website within about a day or two, so you can view that on demand at any point. Like Joan said, I did throw the resources from today's webinar on the website as well. So if you go to this webinar event, you can scroll down and you can actually download these resources that Joan was talking about today. So our next webinar is 5 tips for marketing your business on social media, and is presented by Travis Lowe and Ricky Forbes of Blue Moose Media. Registration for that one for September is now open on our website at wesk.ca. So bye everybody, and thank you for joining us. Have a great afternoon.